Hi, welcome to Simple Logistics channel. Today I would like to talk to you about the new trends in supply chain. First, let's talk about the supply chain's news. We are in November 2020, so it's been a rough year for everybody, and especially for those companies that source their materials abroad. We had all the problems with supply chains collapsing at different times as the pandemic moved from one country to the next. So it wasn't simultaneous. The lockdowns in every country. So first we had a big lockdown in China, where most of the suppliers are, and lots of companies had their supply chain disrupted because of a lack of materials, lack of components. And then the lockdowns moved west to Europe, then to the Americas. And as China exited their lockdown and started to manufacture their products again, there was not enough shipping available to transport all these goods to Europe and the Americas. Right now, the situation we are facing is still of lack of the space in cargo aircraft and cargo ships, especially container ships, moving from China to Europe and from China, especially from China to the Americas, to the States, for example. This has been a big problem, for months now, and we don't expect this problem to go away at least until the Chinese New Year in February next year. So we'll still have high freight prices to move material from China to other countries due to the limited space available. Shipping industry in general, as I mentioned here in other videos, has been really shaken this year. New IMO regulations regarding their greenhouse gas emissions or their emissions in general. What we see is lack of shipping, because most of the container ships are undergoing maintenance or overhaul. They are installing scrubbers in these ships. So most ships are at port right now, and this limits the capacity available for shipping anywhere. So I mentioned here in other videos that for the supply chain to be resilient, you need to have at least two suppliers located in different geographical areas. This is more true today than in any time, especially having a supplier within your region or within your country. If you are located in the US, a US based supplier. If you are located in Europe, an European based supplier, or in Brazil, in Australia, same thing. So it's good to have supply from abroad, from countries with low manufacturing costs. But I think companies in general cannot overlook having a secondary or a backup, some sort of relationship, purchase some amount from local based suppliers. Even though they are more expensive in the first sight, you should continue buying from local based suppliers if you have them, or suppliers located closer to you. Low cost of manufacturing, especially in China, is changing. So the labor there is not as cheap as it used to be, and the trend continues. There is a growing middle class in China. People's work conditions and salaries are increasing year over year, and that's good, for everybody. So China will not be cheap manufacturer forever. If you are going to higher cost of manufacturing, why not, local manufacturing? One way, well, to compete with countries that have lower cost of manufacturing is to use a lot of technology in manufacturing. So I think you should approach your local supplier and discuss with them and create some plans for increased automation in manufacturing. What in Europe is they are discussing now of Industry 4.0. In the US is called smart manufacturing. These kind of discussions to use more automation, use more artificial intelligence, use more information technology to improve manufacturing, reduce costs, improve quality. This is a gain-gain situation. So I think you should approach your local suppliers and discuss buying at least a small percentage from your local suppliers and telling them if you reach these and such manufacturing cost, we can start purchasing primarily from you. So this is a good situation for everybody involved. If you don't already have a local supplier, you can start searching for startups. There are a lot of them. You can even invest in them, become kind of a shareholder. I think companies really should start to proactively search these alternatives. And if you don't have another alternative, you have to buy your commodity or your raw material from a cost with low from a country with the low manufacturing cost. Then you can also start looking outside China. So there are lots of countries with low manufacturing costs. For example, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam. So start looking other alternatives. India is a big player in this area. So companies should proactively start searching these alternatives and increase the quality of their suppliers. I'll give you an example. Ford standardization in his Model A vehicle, what he was searching for was interchangeability between parts. And he could only achieve that if his suppliers were using machines to high precision machines to machine the parts for him. So when he moved to the Model T, for example, he had most of the components or all the components for the Model T produced with a lot of high quality machinery by his suppliers. All the parts were interchangeable. Even though he paid more for the parts, he paid more for the labor. What happened is that he saved a lot of money in assembly, because prior to that, in Model A, for example, because not all of the parts had the same dimensions, they were not accurate enough, machining was not very good, quality was not very good. The assembly phase, the workers had to search for parts that would fit together to assemble that car, or adjust the parts in the assembly line. So that made assembly a lot more expensive, a lot more time consuming. When he moved Model T and he used the assembly line, he could not waste any more time during assembly. So all the parts had to be interchangeable. They had to be higher quality. They had to be very standard. They have all to have similar, very similar dimensions. Otherwise, he could not assemble them properly. So what made it all work out in the end was that Ford suppliers made investment in high quality machinery to machine the parts for Ford, achieving high accuracy, dimensional accuracy, high standardization, higher quality. So Ford could make assembly a lot more easier, faster, more efficient, and he could reduce the costs to produce his car. This is something that we should think of also. So sometimes we can make leaps in manufacturing efficiency if we have higher quality components or raw material. So even though if you pay more for them, if you're using better components, you'll save a lot in other steps for the final production of your product. So this is something we should all keep in mind. Okay, that's what was all that I had for today. Thank you very much. Keep coming back here at the Simple Logistics channel for more videos like this. Thank you. Bye.